and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. And this is our round table series, the series where we have a discussion. It's essentially our mini podcast on YouTube. And I am joined by a man from a different generation. It is Baby Sam. Hello.
Different generation, not to you. Yes.
We are in different generations.
We are from different generations.
Millennial.
I'm more modern and hip and down with the kids, you know.
You're 5'7".
That's nothing to do with it.
And you're wearing a still swimming since 1969 coast to coast.
It's for £8 yesterday.
You are not down with the kids.
I'm down with
the
the
only
kids,
down with the kids you've got is the fact you're the same height. And welcome to our roundtables of honor. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a little discussion, and we're going to talk about certain wrestlers that have probably we think are in the wrong generation. Who would we pick up and move? We can go back and forward. Just a nice little fun discussion, really. Because we've done that after WrestleMania. You think that there's some people who've had big moments at WrestleMania, and some people haven't. And they're going, could you imagine if you were there?
Yeah.
You would have a massive moment. It's very interesting, isn't it?
It is very interesting. And I've kind of got... So there's some people you think are obvious. You think, for example, say, oh, it's CM Punk who's in the wrong era. I actually went the flip side. I disagreed. I think some people need to be different, that breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
So Punk actually, for me, came at exactly the right time because he was so anti everything around him. That's what made him great. So you can kind of go two ways with it.
We really could. Before we get into ours, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe and put in the comments, who do you think was in the wrong era? Shall I start off with my first one?
Oh, please do.
CM Punk.
Well, then we'll debate it. Because I've actually flipped on it.
No, because I agree with you. The reason CM Punk works so well is because of the anti-establishment of it and being different to everyone else. I do actually believe that Punk would be better in the Attitude Era.
Okay.
Because if you, and I'm not talking 98, 99, I'm talking 2000, when they had the influx of good wrestlers.
Jericho.
Him coming with the mic work, and that's the big thing you need the Attitude Era, was to hold your own. The reason he stood out so much in 2011 is because he could talk and he looks different. This guy coming in with that different look would still look different to everyone in the Attitude Era. No one was a punk rocker. No one was covered in tattoos in the same sort of ilk. Him being able to talk, he would have shone and he would have gone straight to the main event. Because let's think about 2000, right? Everyone thinks about all the main eventers in 99 and they go, Kane, The Undertaker and all that lot. When you got to 2000... Kane ain't main eventing, and he never really becomes a main eventer yet. Kurt Angle's not really there yet, is he?
Just at the end.
Yeah, he's not quite ready to... I'm talking about proper main event. I see Kurt Angle end of 2001 is when he becomes a main eventer. Stone Cold is gone, so it's just Rock and Triple H. There is no other real main eventers at the time.
Taker a little bit, but he's not exactly the best version of Taker.
He's out injured for the first half of it, and then he comes back at his worst. I generally look at that 2000 Attitude Era and I go, Punk would waltz in, and could you imagine him and The Rock, Attitude Era Rock, Punk from about 2011. I'm going to go CM Punk is first mind in the wrong era.
No, I'm with you, but I think he would have been maybe number 3, number 4.
I think he would have been a 3.
Yeah, but he became almost number 1, kind of number 1 at
I would say it was 1B.
Yeah. I just feel like his character was based almost off of being in the wrong area. You know what I mean?
I kind of agree. That's why I'm saying the idea that if he actually picked him in the wrong era, I think he would still succeed. Give me another one. Who do you think you've got in the wrong era?
I've gone with someone very different.
Go on.
Jake Roberts.
Oh, absolutely.
Jake Roberts, because, yes, okay, so you can say he was different to everyone else, his promos at the time, but
the fact that he could talk so quietly.
Yes.
You bring it in.
But he was so brilliant, but the problem was there was a ceiling back then. We talk about there's a glass ceiling in 2010s. No, there was a real glass ceiling, and if your name wasn't Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior, that was your ceiling.
Yeah.
And he was never able to actually get a WWE Championship reign.
He didn't even really get a shot at it, to be honest.
No, I think if you bring him, even in the mid-2010s, or if you bring him in like now, he could be unbelievable as a talker, because I don't think there's some great talkers now, but I think he'd be the top 2 or top 3 talkers now. People don't understand how good he was.
I find it fascinating. I think you've picked the wrong era.
Do you think?
Yeah,
Are you thinking attitude?
I'm thinking ruthless aggression.
That'd be great as well.
That's what I'm thinking, because it's not PG, so he can still be full whatever he needs to be. But how many people were great talkers in that PG era who weren't Attitude Era wrestlers? You know, all the new guys. If he'd have waltzed in 2004, let's say SmackDown, it would have been
instead of JBL.
It would have been him instead of JBL. Yeah. That's how I look at it. He would have been that good. I actually think you're absolutely right. He is perfect for his time period as the secondary heel for, you know, your mid-carders to face, and for a mid-card babyface to get those cheers. I look at him and I just look babyface for me and Jake. I think babyface, even though I think his heel work is arguably better, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's a really interesting one, but I think I would have gone ruthless aggression. I think.
No, that's fair. I think he could thrive in most of them, and he did thrive in his as well.
I think he struggled now because
he had the
has a little
ceiling.
work rate.
Well, there's that one, yeah.
Yeah.
But he just had that ceiling that I think would have been completely torn off, you know, if he'd come 20 odd years later.
I mean, let's be honest. I love Jake Roberts. Like when people talk about who's your favourites of people you don't watch or didn't watch, you've gone back, you've seen and whatever. Because most wrestling fans go back, don't they? And Jake's one of mine. Jake and Randy, I could just watch all day long. Can I give you another one I think would have been great in the Ruthless Aggression era, better than the era they were in?
Sure.
I'm going forward with this person. They were in the Attitude era. Ken Shamrock.
Oh, good luck, shout.
I think that Ken Shamrock being in the Attitude Era was so overshadowed by the mere stars, because obviously he disappears by 99, he's gone. So he can't be in the 2000s. So he is stuck behind Kane, Undertaker, Mankind, Rock, even Triple H, who hasn't quite done it. Well, Triple H 99, I suppose. You know, that's a stacked one. He doesn't even get a chance to even main event. They didn't even do that. Put him in the Ruthless Aggression era. Again, I'm thinking that SmackDown, 2003, the work rate era and all that jazz with Brock and people like that, and Big Show, because the main event's not amazing there. It's pretty much Angle, Brock, Undertaker, Big Show. That's kind of what it is, even though SmackDown's killing it. Could put him in there, and I think his angry, aggressive style that Vince was talking about around the era, I think the Smash Mouth style, I think that like loose cannon type gimmick, I think slots straight into the Ruthless Aggression
him
era.
versus Rock is just...
It'd be great.
If you built Ken Shamrock up, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I really like Ken Shamrock. He did some UFC, didn't he? He did some...
Well, he was the
UFC
UFC guy. No, he went to TNA. He's the first ever
he?
TNA champion. Literally, he's the first ever TNA champion. Yeah.
Wow.
So he did your wrestling. He looks great now, by the way.
Yeah.
Still looks absolutely great. You're like, how do you look that good? And he looked a monster. He was a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but he was a big dude. And I just think, is he a great worker? No, but he looked legit. And in wrestling in Ruthless Aggression, there was a lot of people who didn't look legit and the people who did look legit. And I think he would have slotted in perfectly well. Yeah. He would have got main events. Would he have won the WWE title? I don't think he's good enough talker, and I don't think he's good enough in the ring to stay there for a long period of time, but I think he would have had main event matches.
Yeah.
Think about him versus Cena.
Oh, yeah.
When Cena's doing his run of babyface and he needs to overcome someone, Ken Shamrock would have been the inch perfect person.
Definitely.
Do you want to give me another one?
Yeah, I've gone Elias.
Oh, Elias is in the wrong era.
Elias, man. If he could work in the ring, like, he would have been...
That's all he missed.
Yeah,
that's all he missed. If he literally had to... He's like a 4 out of 10 wrestler. If he could just... He's really boring. If he could just become a 6 out of 10 wrestler, you're staring at upper mid-card.
Yeah.
Because he's such a good talker.
Like, world champion level. If, like, you're going to get, like, a secondary world championship.
I don't think the gimmick is going to be there, but I think he could have had matches, like a Baron Corbin, against the champion.
Yeah, I'd have him, you have him back in the 80s, early 90s.
80s straight away.
80s, and literally
Hogan era,
how he can work a crowd. Now, don't get me wrong, he may have got like a title reign to be beaten by Hogan.
Can I throw out, I think you're right with the 80s, but I've got somewhere different for him. I'm thinking 1997 WCW.
Oh, blimey. I didn't even think of different promotions.
Yeah, I know, neither did I until literally you said, so imagine this gimmick in WCW, because he can do whatever you want. Now imagine him getting to say whatever he wants. Imagine him getting to play whatever he wants. Doesn't have to be an amazing wrestler. So you literally doesn't have to improve his wrestling. Straight in. That's where I would have had him, because don't get me wrong, you are right. He would succeed if it was 1990. He would have been a mid-card act. You think about the Model and all these people. He would have slotted straight in. Huge. You're absolutely right. He's in the wrong era. Got screwed over. Shouldn't have been sacked.
Yeah, it is a real shame. And I just think, not even just past promos, because promos is great. There's some kind of it's hard to articulate that ability to control a crowd. It's very hard to train that ability to listen to a crowd and just be able to play them in the palm of your hand, and he had that. The boos he got when he...
the famous boos with Kevin Owens,
Unbelievable.
Well, that was... that's...
Yeah, but that's knowing how to bring up a sports team.
Let's be honest, though. Yeah, but everyone brings up a sports team. Like, Michael Cole took the mick out of someone, took a New Day on Raw for it. Like, oh, look at you, trying to get heel heat. And he actually said the word heel heat. Trying to be you're a bad guy now because you're taking the mick out of the sports team. And then Pat went, that's heel heat. Jesus Christ. I mean, God, lads, stop it. Don't start doing that stuff. But literally, Michael Cole went, see, you're taking the mick out of sports teams, you're bad guys now. Don't do that. Don't give the game away. Yeah. So they all do it. It was the fact that just happens to be this perfect storm where the fans just went mad. I think Elias is. Do you know what? If we're picking on people, I think that's an absolutely spot on one. I really like that one. Can I give you a female?
You most certainly can.
Let's go for someone who should be now. Because I think now is the time to be a woman wrestler, let's be honest. And you're not going to send any women wrestlers back, are you? No. Outside of like a Chelsea Green or someone like that. But I think the fact that Chelsea Green works is because they're in this era. I'm going to go, I would like to do a more modern one. Beth Phoenix is the obvious one. We've talked about it and we need to bring her forward. Beth Phoenix is someone who would have been main eventing pay-per-views now. Even with her not amazing promo work, it was very solid. But her in-wing, her style, her stature, I just look at her and go, her versus Bianca, straight in. Her versus Nia, straight in. Her versus Rhea, straight in. All great matches. Her and Charlotte, great. They're just all great matches that she could play. The Glamazon gimmick is just set up for this era.
Yeah,
it's just set
a champion's gimmick.
It's a champion's gimmick. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
you get over guaranteed.
Yeah, I think she'd be great for us because she's powerful. And what a lot of women don't have, that they're usually quite acrobatic and technical,
flexible.
You don't have a lot that are like a base for power
and is pure power. It's not just I'm larger than you. She's not large. No. She's not like a Rhea who's really tall or Nia who's technically built in that sort of way. And then you can think about Chyna and Jade who are very large ladies. Because I just look at Beth and I think of Bianca. They are just naturally strong. Bianca might be the best pure athlete who has ever been a woman's wrestler in WWE. I can't think of anyone who's a better pure athlete. But Beth is just a naturally strong woman. And I think she would have been phenomenal. I really do.
No, I do.
I would have loved to watch the matches on Monday. I know we've had a few here and there, but quite frankly, I think that she just came at the wrong time. She really did. She also missed all the good wrestlers when she turned up as well. She debuted with Trish, and then she got injured. I think she broke her jaw or something. And then went for about a year and a half, and then came back, and that's when we started. But by then, Trish, Lita, Victoria's nothing. Mickey James is doing not a lot. Yeah. And it's like, Beth. So mine is more about Beth. Come on.
Yeah.
Take it. I'll take it with the damn machine. Go on.
There we go.
Know. Who else?
I went Christian. For me...
Can I ask a question?
Go on.
Where are you moving him to?
I'm moving him forward because here's my thing.
Which one? Because he's done all the eras.
No, I'm moving prime Christian.
Which is?
I have to say mid-2000s.
Okay, mid-2000s. TNA Christian.
I'm moving him to now because...
In WWE?
Yes. Right. I think loads of people appreciated how good he was and he had some great matches and all that. He never got to be one of the main eventers because of Vince, ultimately. And I think if you move him to now, if you have him and his promo ability, like from that era,
as well as he's got work rate,
in-ring ability back then, he is winning world titles. He's in a program with Cody.
Yeah.
He is literally on that Kevin Owens level of being one of the top guys and treated as such.
He is the epitome of what you do when you get older. Get better at talking. Now, don't get me wrong, Christian was always good at talking, so that's not a great example, but he's become so much better at talking. So you look at him now, is he great in the ring? No. He's not great in the ring anymore because he can't be. Don't get me wrong, for someone his age, he's brilliant in the ring. Yeah. If you put it on age range, he is very, especially for someone who was out for 10 years or something like that, he is great in the ring. But obviously, the reason Christian is getting all the responses is because of how great his promo work is. And I wish we could have picked up Christian's promo work, taking it with that guy that he was in 2007, 2008, put them together, put them in WWE now, and you're absolutely right. He would be your world champion, not the WWE champion. He could potentially going for those world titles.
Yeah,
I really
think you're right, but he never really got that recognition or that chance when he was really in his prime. So that's a bit of, he still worked very much in his era, but was never, it's kind of like Jake Roberts a little bit, never given that chance.
Vince just didn't like him.
No.
Put a blue dot over his face and all that jazz. He just didn't get him. No. And I'm like, Vince did the thing that is like, I don't like you. Why? I don't like you. And you're like, that's a really ignorant child thing.
It's like one of those kids where you try to get them to try a new food and the kid's already decided that they don't like the food. So you give them the strawberry or whatever it is and they're like, I don't like strawberries. Nah, without really actually thinking what it tastes like. That's what he did with Christian.
Yeah,
He'd already made his mind up because he just did.
Can I go with one you weren't expecting me to be talking about today?
Sure thing.
Can I talk about the Great Khali?
Why are we talking about the Great Khali? I was having fun then, and you just...
Could you imagine the Great Khali picking him up and putting him in WWE in 1988, 89?
Well, Hogan would face him.
Yeah, that's my point. Is he a good wrestler? No, but none of them were.
No.
And he would be main event. Yeah. He would be over. He would have been protected. Because that's the difference with these giants in WWE now. They never protected them. Andre didn't lose in WWE for about 15 years. You know, as much as we think Khali sucks, his wrestling ability for a giant is way better than the giants back then. You think of Gonzalez and, you know, all the people like that. He's way better than that. You know, the guy who played the Yeti. Oh, God. You know, he's better than all those crappy people. He's not a good wrestler. He's a 2 out of 10 wrestler at best. But those guys are like 0.5s and zeros. He would have been so much better. Could you imagine him in like 1988? You know, sort of
with
region.
The physique as well.
With the physique.
When he came in, like...
Oh my God, he was a monster. Oh my God! Oh,
as well,
wide.
Yeah,
the widest man can't get through a door, let alone under the door.
No.
And I generally think, as much as we don't want, he just came up. If he literally had turned up, he wouldn't have won the world title because only babyface won the world title. But he would have been such a bigger attraction then, and they would have used him better. And I almost went, not in the 80s, I almost went, oh, could you imagine if it would have been him in the territories? So I'm actually going so far back almost to the territories and to the 70s. Blimey. Imagine he getting to travel round.
Crowds would be like, whoa.
Exactly. That's the thing that people realize. When you went back into kayfabe, and this is what kayfabe is in the territories in those early 80s and even late 80s to an extent, he would have been over because it would have been the, oh my God. Andre, let's be honest here, was a terrible, terrible wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
He was not a good wrestler, but he was different and was booked as such and was booked as thing. And I think Great Khali is probably as good a wrestler as Andre was. I really do believe that. And if you don't like it, that's because Andre is Andre and Great Khali is Great Khali. But I generally think, imagine him in those eras, Great Khali would be regarded as one of the greatest of all time. That's genuinely...
No, I'm
you're right. But you're like, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
What a dystopian world.
Can you imagine if he was in the territories? You know, WWE, and then obviously you get fired from WWE in 1992 and end up joining WCW and then have a rubbish horror. That's what it would be. I'm right, aren't I?
Oh, you're not wrong.
I just wanted to mention, because I looked at it and went, who is in the wrong era? And we're talking about the people that probably at the biggest. And we're going to miss people. We might even revisit this one day because it's quite a good fun topic. And there's going to be hundreds of people in the wrong era. We're just going to pick 12 or something today. But I looked at Great Khali and went, you are genuinely probably one of the number ones who actually is in the wrong era. There was too many... How many big people outside of Andre were actually around his size?
No one Andre's size.
No, so literally you could have had him and Andre.
What a match.
Exactly. Oh, it would have been hilariously bad, but they would have loved it.
Yeah, of course.
They would have loved it. One other one for you, Sam.
I've got a few that I'm split between. I'll go with Solo Sikoa.
Oh.
So it's a bit of an odd pick.
Yeah, I know that. He seems perfect for now.
I think he would also really fit in like late 80s. Kind of time, because he can't really talk, so you get him a manager.
Disagree. I think he's a really good talker.
I think he's improved. I think he's improved.
He's been improved because he's not been the character that he was first on. He was like, go and talk, and I'm just going to put my foot down on that. He's a good talker. That's wrong.
I think early on, especially, I'm not thinking on. Yeah,
but he's
improving.
Great now.
No, he's improving. Don't worry. He has really improved. I think he's really grown into the gimmick and the character. But I think the style of wrestler almost, because he's that Samoan, he's kind of that. He's more old school wrestling in the ring. I kind of went late 80s. I think he could have really... So if you give him a manager and you gave him a bit of a...
Well, every heel had a manager anyway.
No, but they got one.
They all talked anyway. They just had managers to do all the dirty work. So he would have got one. It probably would have been actually... It'd have been Afa or, Seeker and people like that. I think he's one of those...
I think people kind of soured on him. I think unjustifiably in some ways.
Because he wasn't Roman.
Because he wasn't Roman. People didn't really get that he wasn't... I think everyone...
They also didn't get that he was trying... He was like... Everyone goes, oh, you're trying to pretend to be Roman. That was the point.
The character.
He was He thought he was Roman. He thought he was Roman.
And he couldn't fill the shoes.
He couldn't do it. That was the point. Look at you not being able to do it properly. He's like, it's the point.
That's literally the
just so straight. This is why when Vince says WWE fans are stupid, sometimes he's not wrong because they just can't see the wood. You want to say you don't need to explain it to us. You don't. Just show it, and you're like. No, sometimes you do need to explain it. You need to have a babyface go, you are not Roman Reigns.
Yeah, you're not my trouble.
Yeah, exactly. You need someone to actually explain it. And, because do you know who I imagine him to be? I'm going to put, we've talked about this a lot, but we did it with our Star Wars thing.
Oh, yes.
He is.
Yeah.
He is that character. He's Kylo Ren.
Ren, yeah.
He tried to be Darth Vader, couldn't do it. He's a petulant child, and he couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
I can understand what you're saying, actually, AT, because it's massive on Samoans, but the reason I'm going to disagree, it's the first time I've only disagreed, is one, I think he's perfectly suited for now, particularly with the way Bloodline booked, but two, Samoans didn't go anywhere. They were all in tag teams and stuff like that, and that was it. They were all just tag teams. They were very rarely on their own. If they did, they were like mid-card. Whereas now he's had WWE Championship matches at SummerSlam and stuff like that. He'd never get that in the other eras. He did way more. And I don't just mean the fact that I said Great Khali wouldn't win the world title, but he would be in more marquee matches. Solo would not be in more marquee matches. So that's the one I would say no. I also think that Solo is getting better and better, and the hate he got was so undeserved.
I agree with that.
I think he's way, way better, and I actually think the more opportunities he got, his SummerSlam match with Cody sucked, and that didn't help because he was not ready for that. Why they didn't give him Bloodline made him mid-card Bloodline, and why they went straight to the main event is like, because we want to get Roman back into it. It's like,
and they wanted to involve Cody with Roman.
And you're like, didn't need to.
Yeah.
You should have let Cody do his own thing, and Solo does his own thing, dominates the undercard of SmackDown, and then does the Roman with the Ulafala.
Yeah. Well, I can give you a counter as a backup point for that. One of my backups was actually Otis. I think Otis in the Attitude Era would be phenomenal.
Can I just say, I think Otis you could pick up and probably put in a few places, actually. I think he would have worked quite well in the Golden Era as well.
I think all that. I think a lot of places where...
New Gen?
Yeah, New Gen, where the character work is more important. He's kind of in an era now where it's not really facilitated towards him in terms of being a bit of a kind of quirky character with not much in-ring work.
And Triple H isn't pussing that either.
No, so it's kind of like his fish out of water right now. Whereas if you put him in the Attitude Era, he could just do loads of funny skits. I'm thinking like, you know.
Well, this was why Vince Russo was actually okay when he had someone to run him, because Vince Russo wanted to make sure everyone was doing something and everyone had a gimmick. And that's the praise I will give Vince Russo. He wanted to make sure everyone was doing something, but he also had someone to say no at him. And this is the problem when you watch TNA from 2006 and you watch WCW. It's like no one's there to go, Vince, no, Mr. Russo, sir, that's a terrible idea. I think Russo would have done quite some good things with Otis, or he would have made him Bastion Booger. It's one of the two.
Yes.
I'm trying to. Where would he be best? What do you reckon? You think actually do it? I reckon New Gen. You know, when those gimmicks, everyone's now playing plumbers and all that.
Yeah, but I don't think people were excited to this. I'm thinking like you put him in Too Cool or something like that. You know what I mean?
I generally
those kind of comedy gimmicks.
Do you know why I said New Gen? Because I think he'd be an upper mid carder.
Really?
Yeah, I think
he's a decent worker.
Because he's a decent worker, and it would have an over gimmick that's over gimmicks like that. Like you think about Jeff Jarrett, he was just a guy who played guitar.
I'm picturing
country music still.
I'm picturing him doing an in-sync worm with Scotty 2 Hotty, and them both doing the worm.
I am blown away that we've not had that spot.
Oh yeah, I know.
Blown away. Why had they not had Scotty 2 Hotty do a random Royal Rumble appearance? It's a missed opportunity. Yeah. I'm going to go with my penultimate choice. I'm going to go back with the women, someone to be now. And I picked this one more than Bethany. It's got the Bethany's obvious. Bull Nakano, Hall of Famer from last year, is one of the best female workers I've ever seen. She looks dramatically different from when she worked. I would have walked past her in the street and not realised that was Bull Nakano. It's incredible. I'll actually put two side-by-side pictures. This is her from when she was wrestling in the 80s and 90s against Alundra Blaze, and this is her at the Hall of Fame, and they're just two different people. She was a phenomenal worker. She is the best female worker I'd ever seen until we got now. She was exciting, and they would have booked her strong. She's big, she's powerful. She would have had great matches with Nia Jax. She's also nimble. She did top rope leg drops, which is insane. You shouldn't be doing that move. Just don't do top rope leg drops. You won't end up having a coccyx anymore.
No, you won't.
You just stop it. Just ask Matt Hardy. He changed it for an axe handle. That's how little, Team Extreme axe handle. But she genuinely might be one of the best female workers of all time. And she was in an era where no one was watching women's wrestling. Her and Alundra Blaze were putting on amazing matches. So much so that WWE had the WWE title on in the Tokyo Dome with it. They sent her to the Tokyo Dome. And you're like, what, with the WWE titles? Like, yeah. They went, really? At like a New Japan event. It's like, what? In 1994 or whatever it was. It's incredible. But they were good. They had really good chemistry with each other. And Nakano, I just looked at it and went, I just felt a bit annoyed that every time I watched it, it was like in a WCW like exhibition match with like other Asian wrestlers who they brought over and stuff, like World War III. If we ever review World War III from 1995, she's on the card and she's brilliant. Put her in there now, WWE, she's main eventing. She's where they're in Asuka, they might even have a tag team, they'd have great matches, it'd be phenomenal. Bull Nakano, you haven't much ball, have you?
No.
We will do, when we start doing maybe some older shows in our reviews, I'll try and make sure I find some Bull Nakano for you, because quite frankly, you're watching this, women's wrestling from that era isn't great, and then she comes up and you're going, oh my god, this is brilliant. And Alundra Blaze. I actually don't think Alundra Blaze gets enough praise. She was actually not a bad worker for the female in 1995.
Yeah.
Go on then, Sam.
Right, now I've got 2 quick ones here. I've got one is Rusev.
Oh,
I've put it
absolutely.
New Gen, I think.
Waltz into New Gen.
He'd be fantastic.
He would main event.
Yeah, he could
would
main
main
event
event.
him and Shawn Michaels, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, he would main event.
Strut into that. I think he still could have worked in the modern era if Vince wanted him to.
Ruthless aggression?
I think he could work in that as well.
Because they're still doing the foreign heel gimmick, so maybe. But I think New Gen, absolutely.
That's where he is.
Yeah.
And I've also gone Paul London and Brian Kendrick.
Oh.
You throw those two into like Black and Gold NXT.
WCW, how about WCW?
Yeah, that as well. Or even, today, I know the tag division's a bit iffy recently, but I think...
SmackDown's been better.
Yeah, with Machine Guns, you just throw them into a lively tag team division anywhere.
Yeah, they were great. I felt so sorry for them, because also they were great on SmackDown, then got moved to Raw and never got used, and I'm like, why do we move people around and then not use them? Why bother?
That's not an efficient way of running a company.
I don't know. My last one then. Do you have any more if you want to pick?
Well, those are my 2 main ones.
I think this one is the obvious one, so we'll end on obvious. I started with obvious with CM Punk, and I think we have to mention that one. I'm going to end with another obvious one who I think would have waltzed into the Attitude Era, and maybe even New Gen. I'm going to go with L.A. Knight.
What a pick. Yeah. What a pick.
You look at him now and go, first of all, I feel sorry that you come to the WWE at 41, 2, something like that.
Shame.
You're like, because you're going, are you ever going to main event? I don't think you're going to main event.
I think he had his chance in 2023, was it, when he had that Roman thing?
But
and it wasn't like he bottled it.
No,
but
he's not.
That was as far as he was.
Do you know what it looked? It didn't look right. As much as we all, they're going, yeah, he's in the main event.
And he did seem a bit nervous at the time.
Well, it's a big
and I get it. No, I get it.
It was also Saudi as well,
I'd
wasn't
be bloody nervous.
Yeah.
Well, that was the one, and then he had the Rumble where
the Fatal 4-Way, and that match just didn't work for some reason. I don't know why. It didn't quite work. Everyone, it should have been him and Randy. They just didn't want Randy to job. But LA Knight, I just look at it and go, and that promo put him into 1998 WWE. When working isn't even that. He's main eventing. He's straight into the main event. He'd have matches with The Rock. He'd have matches with Stone Cold. He'd go through the mid card. I absolutely believe that. I don't think he works pre the Attitude Era. I don't think
there's a bit of modern.
But I look at him and I go, WCW Attitude Era. He's a main eventer. If Hogan and all that lot would let him go through, but they wouldn't. But he would be an upper mid carder in that WC. He'd waltz in and would dominate it. I think he'd do great work. I love LA Knight. I really do. I liked him in TNA when he was Eli Drake. He does sound like The Rock. He does.
There's a bit of that. There's a bit of that.
He does, which is why he'd work in the Attitude Era.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't make that comparison to The Rock. Because he's with him. Because that's just how he talks. Or he really is such a massive fan of The Rock when he was a bit younger that it's like...
It's come through.
You just... It seeps into you. We all do it. We all say quotes and stuff you don't even realise. Me and you, every now and then a quote in Star Wars and like, that's a Star Wars quote, that's not our own quote. All the time. Yeah. But do you have any more you want to throw out there?
I think that's it for me. I had a few other thoughts. Like I had a big show in there, but I think you covered that with the Carly.
Yeah,
it's
the same thing.
It's the same point.
Yeah, I think Carly even more than the Big Show, because Big Show, Carly couldn't be in any other generation.
Yeah, so that's why.
Whereas I think Big Show has proven that you probably can pick him up. He just needed booking.
Yeah,
Big Show needed booking. That's why Carly in the 80s or even the Territories works, because they would have booked him.
Yeah, another one I had Del Rio and New Gen. That was one I had.
Yeah, that would have worked better, but I don't want to give that man praise. So, those are our kind of picks. They're not saying these are the number ones. We're just throwing some people out there we think are in the wrong generation. Who do you think's been in the wrong generation? We might actually go and revisit this sometime, because I think it's a really interesting topic.
If there's some
definitely more.
We could definitely discuss
we'll definitely discuss it. So put yours on who you think's in the wrong one. We might discuss them. We might do another one. We might come back to it in a year or two's time. I've really enjoyed it, actually. It's been quite good fun. Yeah, so I love that. And pretty much we've all agreed bar Solo, and all that just shows you how good Solo is. So, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And please join us for another round table another time. Thank you very much.